Okay, this is the part of the video that I hate the most. I don't know if you can hear it, but I have my AC running. I should check to see if you can even hear it, because that changes everything. Yeah, you can. Alright. Turn off. I live a kind of a pretty high life, and I have a remote to my AC unit in my living room, so... not a lot of people have that, but I started from the bottom like everyone else. Yeah, so that sucks. It's gonna get hot as hell, but that's the only kind of video I make are hot as hell videos. Oh, man. But anyway, what are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about a few things. I was watching Joe Rogan's podcast the other day, and by the other day, I mean 5 minutes ago. And I got literally less than a minute in, and they started talking about how Jon Stewart should come back. And it got me thinking. Because Jon Stewart's response to that was so brilliant, as usually his responses are. And that was that so many people are doing what he did right now. It just seems like, different people are giving their own takes on the same thing. Now we have so many political comedy shows. I don't know what genre you would call that. Political comedy? Comedy, politics. First of all, Trevor Noah is doing a great job. Part of me wonders, was The Daily Show lightning in the bottle? Was it lightning in a bottle? I'm a huge fan of John Oliver. That's probably like my new Daily Show. I loved Colbert Report, and now he is a late night host. And then there was that show, what was that show? The Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore, Larry Wilmore is a really talented writer. I think the day that I lost respect for the Nightly Show was when he had Bill Nye on, and Bill Nye was trying to explain something, and he had these other comedians on who kept just kind of undercutting Bill Nye while he's trying to give this explanation. I think it was why we should visit Mars.
Where did we all come from?
Okay, so now I ask you, do you give a about all that?
No.
And the comedians that he had on, which I'm sure they're funny comedians or whoever, like nothing. If I say anything bad about anyone in this context, I'm not talking about their whole damn career. I'm just saying in this episode, those comedians just kept undercutting him.
Americans, we don't care what's
Yes,
on Mars.
we do.
Like, we don't care about the water. If it's Caitlyn Jenner's tears, then yeah, tell me all about that water on Mars.
It wasn't funny. Like anytime he tried to get serious about something, there was a bad joke put in.
I did not know we would have such Mars hating on the panel.
They were almost like too self-aware that they were being hired. I am here on the show. I must say joke. If I don't say joke, they won't bring me back. So I must say the joke.
All right, I don't care about what. If you want water, there you go, Bill. You got it. It's all yours. You got water. Come on.
And yeah, maybe the delivery of the show just didn't work for me. But yeah, there was a time when like the Daily Show kind of family started to plateau, and I think it started when Jon Stewart left. And we didn't know what the future of Trevor Noah was going to... I don't think we even knew who the new host was going to be. It was just kind of like a dark time for comedy politics. And I think once Trevor Noah came around, it started to build up a bit. Because here's the thing about The Daily Show is once Jon Stewart left, it doesn't matter who takes the seat. What are you going to bring to it? Are you just going to do a Jon Stewart impression, or are you going to bring something new to the table? And I think, and I don't know if this was intentional, maybe this was something that just happened and they just rolled with it, but I think the thing that set Trevor Noah apart was he started coming out with those videos of him kind of speaking before the show.
And so I was like, hey, how are you, Mr. President? I haven't seen you in a while. And he's like, oh, doing good. How you been? You good? You good? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing good.
Or it was him speaking during commercial break. It was him just speaking outside of the Daily Show format, and it was just very real. And that's what I missed, and I think that's what I missed with the Nightly Show, is I missed that realism.
We should get Maureen Povich to test that DNA.
Anytime someone did get real, they were kind of cut off, whereas if you're going to have someone who's going to explain something, really serious, and, you want to add the comedy to it, it's all about the right timing and delivery, and I just don't think the Nightly Show had that. But when Trevor Noah came out, he started doing those kind of, I want to say, behind the scenes videos, and it was real, and I loved watching them. John Oliver had his show, and he too was very just had this real vibe from him. He didn't seem like he was putting on a show, even though he is. You know, I've been rambling so much, I have to adjust the lighting because the sun's going down. That's how bad it's getting, guys. But anyway, let me address the title of the video, which is, I'm gonna call it, Should Jon Stewart Come Back? Yeah, the thing is, if he does come back, it has to be, if for whatever reason Trevor Noah stepped down, he was done with it, you know, for whatever reason, which is not going to happen, and they wanted Jon Stewart back and he came back, I don't think it would have the same impact. I think that was lightning in the bottle. I think it fell within the times. As bad as I want Jon Stewart's opinions on everything that's happening, I just don't think we're going to get it in the way that we want. So what do? Where do we put him? Where do we put the guy? I don't know. Perhaps he does kind of like an at-home late-night show, similar to John Krasinski and some other people. When he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, he was speaking from his attic. That was his office. This guy, I can't imagine that he doesn't have one. But here he is in his attic. Perhaps there's a reason for it. I don't know. It might be to get away from any children screaming or something like that. Whatever the case may be, I loved it and it was adorable. So maybe something like that where it's kind of maybe a smaller daily show. Like a small, not as produced with like, and he, you know, he's got the paper and he's like, you know, actually I love the paper. This is all unemployment papers, by the way. We're in a quarantine, you know, we need money, which would be a nice topic to cover. How is this stimulus check thing working out? So yeah, I think some people want Jon Stewart to come back, but they want him as a Daily Show host. I don't know if the guy even wants to come back. The guy seems to be chilling. He seems to be the most chill celebrity on the planet, aside from, I don't know, who's more chill than Jon Stewart right now? Bill Murray, I'd probably say. And that's kind of how Jon Stewart is. You know, he shows up once in a while on Colbert's show. You know, he's doing a podcast, being a guest on a podcast. You know, after all this talk about podcasts, perhaps it should be just that. Maybe that should be the smaller scale, is a Jon Stewart podcast. Is there a Jon Stewart podcast? I'm going to leave all this in so everyone knows how little research I do on Hollywood. Okay, so there is a thing called The Daily Show Podcast without Jon Stewart. That's funny. But what is it? It's a funny title, but what is it? Let me check Joe Rogan's description. Make sure he's not like on the podcast to promote this podcast I'm trying to do research of. And if I would have just sat my ass down and listened to it, maybe I wouldn't have to do all this research. No, thank God he's promoting a new film called Irresistible. Okay, so he's promoting a film with, is that Steve Carell? That makes sense because Steve Carell is on The Daily Show. Also, Steve Carell is just a talented man, too, regardless if he was on The Daily Show or not. But that's probably why. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think Jon Stewart should return in a show? Do you think he'd be better as a podcast host? Jon Stewart, with the reputation that he has, could get some pretty amazing guests. I'm pretty sure the guy could get Obama on his podcast if he really wanted to. He could probably get Obama and George W. on the same podcast, three people talking on mics. And you know what? I'll even go as far as to say he could get him in his fucking attic. He's like, hey, I'm hosting a podcast. Yeah, it's in my attic. And it's like, nah, there's no AC. It's just me in my attic. It's very dusty. I got a fold-out chair and a crate. So you guys got to fight over who sits in the chair and who gets the crate. And I bet you they'd do it. They'd be on the podcast anyway. Oh, and now the puppy wants attention. What do you want? You want to be on the video? Oh my God. You're not a puppy anymore. What do you have to tell the world? Have you said everything you need to say? Yeah. To all my dog subscribers, let me know in the comments if you want to see more of her. What? What's that? This pandemic is just a hoax by the government? All right, guys, so take care. Stay safe out there. I'll see you around, guys. Take care.